getting crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate, accelerate. Find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate, separate and segregate. Don't celebrate quite yet, the storm is coming, Q, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate. The values of our country and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate. Marching on these streets of blood till I see the golden gates. Troubadour, troubled souls, one of God's servants. Blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpent.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. Need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
I know the truth is hard to swallow, just digest it. Suspected something's going on, but chose to just neglect it. Deflected by some breaking news, oh, we just accept it. Expected just to fall in line and follow their perspective. Don't question their objective, but I got a lot of questions. How these kids molested, but nobody's been arrested. Read it in the testament, these children are protected. So I'm fighting all these terrorists, both foreign and domestic. Refuse to be directed, blind, not a sheep. Only kneel to my God, so I'm dying on my feet. Silence when we speak, but there's violence in the street. I've been rolling with the punches, I can't take it on the cheek. Drink from a glass half full, I'm optimistic. People are sadistic, so vicious and malicious. Praying for assistance to overcome opposition, or I'm gonna start resisting, and then I'll pray for forgiveness.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. Need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now. We need you now. We need you now. One day, one day, one day. Oh, one day, I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
Shit, I was on mute. Can y'all hear me? Hey, Jules. How you been, love? Good to see you. Good to see you. And all you lurkers. I ain't got a lot of lurkers, thank God, but okay, you can hear me good. Um, I've had this live set for days now, and there's just so much shit kept going on. And I kept going down these rabbit holes on this, and it's like, fuck, man, I can't go live because there's so much more I want to dig into. And now I know I need to write shit down. A lot of people are off. I've been off of YouTube like for weeks. I don't know, ever since the hurricane and stuff, I took that break and it was nice. But this case right here, I'm not doing no more true crime. Like, I don't really consider this true crime, but fuck true crime. Toxic motherfuckers over there. All of them's in it to line their fucking pocketbooks. Oh, lordy, lordy. Let's see here. Is it just gonna be me and Jules talking? Jules, do you feel like this is some kind of MK Ultra ish stuff, you know? I don't blame you, Jill. Stay away from that fucking toxic bullshit on here. It's not worth it, man. I think so too, because look, he was missing for 3 months before this happened. He went missing. His mother even reported him missing to the police 2 weeks before he shot Brian. 3 months, that's a good chunk to brainwash and mind fuck somebody, you know? Yes, Jules. Brian Thompson, the CEO that got killed, was supposed to testify against Nancy Pelosi on that insider business bullshit. I know we know more about him than Thomas Crooks. That's crazy, ain't it? Like this was just too perfect of a, I don't know. Oh wow, she was go figure. But yeah, Brian was going to testify against Nancy. And look, Luigi's parents have connections to his parents and grandparents have connections to the Pelosi's. Pelosi's, they're in Baltimore. Luigi and his family's Baltimore. I swear, oh, this is wild shit. The kid had his whole life ahead of him, you know? But I've noticed, I don't support killing anyone. No one deserves to lose their life. Brian didn't deserve to lose his life, but neither did the millions and thousands of people that Brian denied health coverage to. They didn't deserve to lose their life either because of some greedy fucking CEO, in my opinion. Right, Jules. Right. It was just a perfect capture, like I think it's fucking MK Ultra. I swear I do. Just like the Ted Kaczynski, like And I have never, like, really I don't know, I'm team Luigi, I can't my heart hurts for the kid, man. Bingo, Jules, right. Because that's murder too, you know? You deny someone coverage, that's you know? Like, I'm gonna play the interview with his roommate that he had in Hawaii was very informative. Like, I think because he had that back surgery, and I think that back surgery fucked him up worse, and that's what I don't know. Let's see here. I've been following some new people on this case. I found new people to cover. Thank God, because I'm getting out of the friggin' let me go over here and see. Is his channel name Officer Tatum? Let's see here. A lot of the stuff I played already. Megan Kelly pissing me off. I hope Trump pardons him. Let's see. It's Officer Tatum, is that the name of his channel? Let's see. A lot of people have, views like this. Even, like, the left side and the right side, like, we're kinda coming together on this. Let's see here. I think let's see. Yeah, fuck Megan Kelly, she pissed me off. Yeah, I have, watched some of his stuff, Jules, but let's see here. I got so much shit saved. Let me go here to this one. So much. Oh, and I heard that the Monopoly money that was found, that he was going to allegedly, put it on Brian's dead body. I don't know, but where is that? I know saved something from Officer Tatum because I remember him. Let me find bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. Maybe I didn't fucking see it. Yeah, the drones, that's been crazy too. Heavy duty country. Aw. Did he write it in a Sharpie or did he engrave? Because I heard both. Speaking of that, here's a video of we'll watch real quick about the deny, defend, depose. Sorry, I'm all over the place until I engraved with Sharpie. What the That's funny. Okay, this lady is going to explain the deny, defend, depose. It's pretty interesting to see it laid out because us with like ADHD and stuff. I'm like I've been. I don't even know where to begin, Jules. There's so much to this, so much, and let's watch this real quick. This here will get us going.
Deny, defend, and depose were reportedly discovered on the casings of bullets used in the United Healthcare case. Let's break down the special relevance of these words in this situation and examine some of the multitude of theories that are spreading like wildfire across the internet. Let's start with deny. To deny something can mean to say that something is untrue, to say no to something, and to refuse to give something, in addition to other meanings. The word deny also has special relevance within the healthcare industry because insurance providers can and do deny claims for healthcare. Denial of claims is described as a key part of the healthcare industry strategy in dealing with customers, according to the book Delay, Deny, Defend: Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It. More on this book later. Let's look at the second of the keywords. To defend means to guard against something or to attack in order to drive something away, but it also has legal uses: to act as an attorney for someone and to contest or oppose the right of a plaintiff, someone who brings legal action. This is the second of the keywords in the book title mentioned earlier. In situations where a court case is brought against an insurer, the companies may defend themselves relentlessly, even going so far as to hire private investigators to try to find information about the customers to use against them in court. Let's cover the last word in this book title before moving on to depose, because it's relevant to this case. To delay as a verb means to stop or hinder something or to cause something to happen later than normal. This is another prong in healthcare insurance company strategy. By delaying addressing a customer's claim, the customer is forced to wait. The customer may try repeatedly to get information from the insurer, but the insurer is incentivized to drag out the process of addressing the claim because the customer may get frustrated and give up, or in incredibly dark, awful situations, may suffer from complications related to the treatment they need and pass away. The third word, depose, has been of extra special interest for a number of reasons. First, some news reports have suggested that the word depose might not be entirely clearly written on the casing, leading to speculation that the word might actually be dispose, but we're not going to delve that far into speculation here. Depose is also relevant because this word varies from the title of the book mentioned before. It's also very important to note that at this point in the investigation, no clear link has been established by authorities between the suspect and the book, though in my opinion, it's quite hard to ignore the parallels. Depose presents special interest because there are a number of interpretations for this word. First, there are legal definitions for this word: to testify under oath and to take testimony from a witness, especially under deposition. That depo in deposition definitely hints to a connection between the
That part right there of the depose, that when hey Lenny love, when she was reading that off when I was watching this, Nancy Pelosi instantly came to my mind on that.
words, yeah? A deposition in this case is a declaration. First, there are legal definitions for this word: to testify under oath and to take testimony from a witness, especially under deposition. That depo in deposition definitely hints to a connection between the words, yeah? A deposition in this case is a declaration before a court, as in a witness giving testimony. Interestingly, there's another meaning of deposition, which means putting something somewhere, as in this example from the dictionary, referring to a deposition of earth and stones. We also see this in the definition for the verb depose. According to Etymology Online, the word deposition properly comes from the word deposit, but over time, deposit and depose have become woven together, which results in these sort of odd differences in definition shared between depose and deposition, in case you were wondering. The second definition of depose that is theorized to have special relevance to this case is the one which means to remove from a throne or other high position. This case involved removing the CEO of a major corporation from a position of power. If we trace back the origins of the word depose via etymology online, we see that this word originated in the 1300s from Old French déposer in the 12th century, where de means down and poser means put or place. Please forgive my French accent here. But the give a testimony meaning came around a couple hundred years later in the 15th century. Just as a fun note, the French Revolution started in 1789, a few hundred years after these words showed up. So what's the relevance of this? Depose can have multiple interpretations here. If we look at it from the angle of healthcare company strategies, which would align with the inclusion of the words deny and delay on the other two reported casings, to depose could refer to the process of going to court over an insurance claim. This could refer to deposing a customer of the insurance company, meaning asking a customer to give a testimony about the situation. It could refer to the reverse as well, a customer taking the insurance company to court over a denied claim. If, however, we look at the inclusion of this word as a planned deviation from the deny, delay, and defend keywords, the implications become bigger. This is where a lot of the theorizing online is going crazy. Could depose be the suspect's suggestion for how to deal with healthcare insurers? Could it be a message about this particular person's approach to their unique situation? Could it be a rallying cry to others? This remains unclear, and in absence of any other information, we're left to theorize about what kind of message the suspect intended by including these words on the casings. Personally, given how much of the case seems to have been carefully planned, I think the ambiguity of this word was intentional. The writer of the book we've talked about, which was published in 2010, has provided no comment regarding the recent investigations. Sales of the book on Amazon are reportedly through the roof, with some people reporting that it's only available in digital formats. There's already even merch sporting the deny, defend, and depose words springing up online as well. Now that you've got a full understanding of what these words mean and their relevance to the topic, what do you think?
It is interesting. It's interesting. Let's see here. What the fuck? They're saying there's a Trump link to this. Let's watch this real quick. I don't even know what this is. Rachel Maddow. Go figure. I know, Jules. I don't think Trump, I don't know, because I know Trump Jr., he put, when they first got the pictures of Luigi before they caught him and stuff, Trump Jr. put the images out and said, the internet, do your thing and find this guy. But we didn't know the story. Let's see what they say about Trump here. People are just clicking in it. And, ugh. Let's see what this says.
Now is not only one of America's most astute journalistic commentators, but her and her team are also great investigative reporters. They dig for the facts underneath the big news stories and find stuff that the mainstream media is either ignoring or does not want to talk about. Today, Maddow uncovers a startling connection between Trump and the suspect of the CEO shooting in Midtown Manhattan. Before she reveals that connection, she starts here.
Today, we have news of a young man being arrested and charged in conjunction with the assassination of a health insurance executive in Midtown Manhattan. This young man has been charged with forgery and a firearms offense at this point, and with people looking for a possible motive or an explanation for that crime.
I'm going to show Maddow's surprising discovery in just a second. But first, it is no accident that this is a story the mainstream corporate media are confused and outraged over. They are confused because America is not clutching its pearls over what happened in Midtown Manhattan. This was a cold-blooded act performed in broad daylight to a corporate titan, no less, and Americans are just not angry about it. The media are outraged that Americans seem to be at best justifying what happened and at worst celebrating it. For the record, the people who are sort of kind of justifying it are wrong. We're all outraged at faux news and the Republican Party manufacturing false equivalencies on a daily basis. And this is no different. There's no justification for taking a life. And false.
Okay, I'm not outraged, but my heart is broken for Luigi, and I'm on his side on this because I get it. If you have any empathy in your soul, you get this. And if it's not some conspiracy, if it's not MK Ultra, which that's not off the table for me, especially with the Unabomber involved, you know, and I don't think I want to listen to this dude. Hey, Max, love. I don't want to listen to this dude. Um, There's been some good people though that I've never seen covering this. That's doing a good job. Trying to find the interview of his roommate from Hawaii. I got it saved somewhere. There's two of them here. I've got two videos saved. I don't think there's one. Shit. We're gonna watch this here. CNN interview. Yeah, that's poor kid though, man. 26 years old and had to back like his fucked up back, and yeah, this was his ex-roommate speaks out.
Joining us now, friend and former roommate of Luigi Mangione, RJ Martin. RJ, you lived with. First off, thank you for being with us. I know it's difficult to come on and have to talk about something like this, but you lived with Luigi in Hawaii. Can you tell us a little bit about the guy that you knew?
Yes, so I founded a co-living space called Surf.
This interview and the other one with the other roommate, these interviews broke my heart. I cried listening to these. It's
Great co-living, and Luigi applied to be a member. And we do an interview process. We do full background checks. And I was fortunate enough to interview him. And from the initial conversation, he was a great fit for our community. Thoughtful individual, has a great job, was looking to come to Hawaii to give back, to stay healthy, to make new friends. He really was an ideal member for our community at Surf Break. And he continued on. He did great things when he was with us. He helped spearhead a book club. He was great to other members. He was always giving and considerate and thoughtful. I remember cooking meals with him and joking around. Had a great sense of humor. We bonded over working out, over intellectual conversations we had at book club, and the thoughtful, young man that I got to know, it seems completely incompatible with an assassin.
You've talked about the back surgery that he had, the back pain that he had. Did he ever express any anger toward the healthcare industry? Anything that would seem resonant to you now that all of this is unfolding?
No, he was one of the most positive people I know. He was always a cup half full kind of person, the kind of person that people enjoyed spending time with. I always look forward to our hangouts. We had intellectual conversations about structural problems that the nation faces, whether they're governmental or corporate, but nothing stands out specifically regarding.
Well, tell me about the structural and corporate issues that you guys would talk about. What were those like, those conversations?
Well, the counterculture that America had in the 1960s made it really clear that we're on a course of action that's destroying the planet for the present gain, for future loss. And I think that conversation, that data, and that information has only become more clear and more loud as time goes on. So those would be things we talk about, or perhaps how governmental institutions are failing our citizens, whether it is, education or healthcare or wars that we wage. These are intellectual conversations that, we enjoyed having, whether it was over a meal or at the park during sunset, as we collaborated and had, great talks at our book club.
Regarding the book club, what's the deal with the reading of Ted Kaczynski's book? How did that come to be?
Every week it rotated who got to pick the next reading, or, every 2 weeks, however long it took us to get through something. And another member and I kind of half jokingly proposed it. I kind of always wanted to read it, but never had the motivation. And I figured, well, if we'd have to read it for book club, I'll have to get through it. So it was actually my idea and another member's idea. It wasn't anything Luigi was like inspired to dig into.
It is interesting, having read the Goodreads review of it and seeing what's going on right now. Obviously, he's just a suspect and no one's been convicted. But seeing the totality of what we've been able to understand about him online, including the 3-page document that police have given us a few details about, including anger toward the healthcare system and United specifically. I just wonder, now that you're looking back and you're putting these pieces together as we are, if there's anything does this still surprise you? Are you taken aback? You think something might have happened in the time between you last saw him and this?
Well, he was absolutely a kind person, not violent, never wanted to even watch, violent sports or talk about guns, even never once popped up in conversation. So it's beyond surprising that, the Luigi that I knew is completely incompatible with an assassin.
You say that I read that you said that you lost contact with him. He left Hawaii. He got back surgery. He told you there was a story about it. He wanted to tell you in person, but you never had that in-person conversation. How long? When was the last time you guys were able to connect?
That was earlier this year, maybe March-ish, when we had our last text communications. I followed up with him in the next 3 months in a row, just kind of like, hey, what's up, bro? And didn't hear back from him. Our friendship was such that I didn't assume anything. I didn't take it the wrong way. I just knew that, when we did reconnect, our friendship would start from where it left off, and just assume that maybe he'd gotten a new job, moved back home. But I had absolutely zero thought or inclination that something had happened to him.
RJ Martin, thank you very much for joining us. I know, again, it's a difficult time and it's got to be really confusing to try to reconcile the person you said you knew and the person that we're all starting to learn about and what may have unfolded.
Yeah, they'll send him to Rikers Island. And that is a rough fucking place. I'm trying to find this other one. I just had it. Now I can't even fucking find the other interview. That's not the one that that really made me sad. Okay, here we go. Found this one. I mean, Casey Anthony's free. OJ Simpson got away with it. Or was innocent, or come on now. Come on. What about the millions of people that Brian killed at the hands of our government? Gypsy Rose, yeah.
Beyond shocked. It's unimaginable. I was roommates with him, friends, hiked, went to yoga. He's, did his best to be athletic, and unfathomable knowing the kind, person that I saw and knew. Well, actually, we have an interview process because when you throw a bunch of people living together, you need to hopefully make sure they work well. And I interviewed him before he moved in. He works in tech. He has a remote position. He was looking forward to living in Hawaii and being healthy. He was excited about getting to know new people, experiencing new culture. No, no, no. It's very natural. Our members all have remote jobs, and Hawaii is one of those places that many people would love to live. So we provide kind of an all-inclusive living experience. So it makes it easy for them to move to the islands.
Okay, now this is weird because this video has definitely been edited. That was not weird like this. What the fuck? It's going to be hard because it's going to be hard for them to find a jury that doesn't know about this case. And even if they don't know about the case and they're in the jury, they're going to sympathize with this dude because of the health care. In my opinion. Okay, well, I guess let's see here. This is a little long one, but this here is a really good listen. I don't Fuck, I think I got so much shit saved. And I got a Candace Owens one too I want to play, but it's not long either, but she's on the MK Ultra side too, and Did y'all watch the Kansas Owen win? I love Candace Owens. Jules, I heard someone mention Syria. Megs, the government's not talking about yeah, Candace Owens has got some good insight on this too. She's thinking like us. I love Candace. All right, let's. I just felt this dude. I will share his link, and if y'all could share it.
Brian Thompson killed outside Manhattan Hotel. Rob, if you can play the clip and stop, just show a little bit. I don't want to show the whole clip. The audience can see it. It is tough. This is the CEO of United Health. If you want to play it while he's walking, and then when the guy pulls up the gun, just stop it. Go for it. This is around 7 a.m. Pause it right there. Boom. There you go. Okay. Right there if you could pause. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Yeah, so you see this. By the way, he's by himself. They interviewed his security. They said on this trip, he didn't have security. Normally, when you're top 20, top 50, they all have somebody. He's going by himself to the meeting. This setup takes place. I think he shoots him, if I'm not mistaken, 6 times. If you see the clip, it gets stuck. He continues. And there's a lot of story behind it of being an inside job. The guy on the bullets had 2 words on it.
Three words.
3 words.
What was it, Rob? Deny, delay,
defend,
and depose.
Deny, delay. What is it? Deny, depose, and defend. NYPD is investigating the possible message, which appears to include the words deny, depose, and defend, written on live rounds and shell casings left behind by masked assassin. Vinny, what do you know about this story?
Well, I mean, first of all, Pat, I mean, obviously it's tragic for, he had a wife. I think he had 2 kids, Rob. So, prayers go out to them. But so he was pronounced dead at Mount Sinai. And then apparently he was earning a $10 million salary. He led the company to a record-breaking $98.9 billion in 1 quarter. So this guy, he's a heavyweight. But in 2022, he took over right after COVID, and he became, this polarizing figure because they started denying payments for non-critical ER visits, a policy that critics says penalize patients for seeking care that they need the most. And then United Health faced a lawsuit for using faulty AI, weird. That's obviously they set it up to deny elderly patients medically necessary coverage. The company was also being probed by the DOJ for alleged antitrust violations. He himself, Thompson, was under investigation for what is it, Tom? The Nancy Pelosi type stuff. Insider trading. And then you should see online there was people going crazy, and it wasn't talking crap about the killer. Okay, thousands of people went on venting about the frustration over a system accused of valuing profits over patients. Some people wrote, was his trip to the ER really emergent? According to his own company, my husband's heart attack wasn't an actual emergency, and we were out $3,000. And another guy wrote, sending a prior authorization, denied claims, collections, and prayers to his family. A lot of people were trying to say, oh, this was a hit, this was assassination. The guy wrote deny, delay, and defend, which was basically saying that these insurance are screwing people over. I have a feeling that this guy, Cenk, either his daughter or his son or a mother or something was going on with this guy's family, and this company is behind it. Because, I have a chart. Rob, do you have that chart, bro? I think I sent it to you the other day. Out of all the people that deny claims, out of all the companies, guess where United Health is in that list?
What's number one?
Look at this, Cenk. Are you ready?
32%.
Rob, I think I slacked it to you. It might have been in the unusuals one. No, they're number one. They're number one.
You got to have the percent because they're the largest. So you need the percent denied to truly rate it.
Yeah, it's about 32%. It's monstrous. It's a third of the people.
Look at that. Look at the claim denial rates by insurance company. Look at that. They're 32%. Wow. Pat, 32. Kaiser's at 7%. They're denying.
Okay, now this was before they knew anything about Luigi, before they caught him and stuff. I don't want to listen to all this, but I wanted to get to this part right here. But there's another one on the same page here. After they found him, this is a good channel.
denying the crap
What
out
is
of everybody.
what is the industry average? What does that number say?
16.
16.
Twice the
So
industry
they're
average.
double.
They're double,
Yeah,
and
industry
then
is
and then think about it. I don't hate to be this guy. It is what it is. When you're screwing people over like that at the corporate level, and they don't realize, Tank, they think they're untouchable. Sad to say, you're not untouchable because you are affecting people's lives. I don't know the full story, but to carve that into shell casings, that's a freaking personal vendetta, and that's personal. That has something personal to do it out in the open. I think they'll probably catch this guy in a week or two. But I mean, the numbers don't lie. That's
He's still on the run.
Can I just say, this is the exact segment we did on the Young Turks yesterday.
Yeah,
So
okay.
this is what I'm talking about. If we just talk to each other, it's amazing how much we agree. We totally agree.
Yep.
Shooting this guy is terrible,
Horrible.
immoral, totally unacceptable. Violence is always unacceptable. It's always surrender in the battlefield of ideas, etc.
Yes.
Now, at the same time, but at the same time, you have this chart, and it's true.
Yes.
And so it goes to the point that we've been talking about. People, like the people in power, are bottling everything up, and they think that they can maintain that. This is unprecedented. It doesn't happen in other countries. In other countries, in all other developed nations, you're actually guaranteed healthcare, and then you could put private healthcare on top. We don't do that. So 76,000 people, according to studies, die every year because they don't have health insurance. That number is zero in other countries. So as much as I mourn this guy, and I don't want anybody to think otherwise, right? I also mourn those 76,000 Americans that die every year because they get denied coverage. Because think about health insurance. It makes no sense in my mind to privatize this. So like you want to do private on top? Great, no problem. You want to do private security on top of the cops? Great, no problem. But when you
Megs, honestly, I think that's why he picked New York City, because everybody, and it was early morning, one of the busiest times, the city, and everybody looks the same and going to work and this and that. And he wore that mask, and you know what I'm saying? And yeah, they set him up for the fall. I think he could be a patsy, and I don't know. MK Ultra. Because like he totally like went missing for 3 months. His mom even made a report on him. And they say he's like 5. Yeah, he acted alone. Yeah, I got some stuff on that too. I don't forgot what I was fucking saying. I don't know. Let's finish listening. I love hearing these guys talk about this. They talk about a lot of stuff, actually.
who have it like this, Pat, you and I run businesses. What do you want to do? You want to maximize profit. You want to minimize costs, right? So what's the revenue that you're getting in? Money from people. You charge for everything. Charge for everything, right? And what do you pay out?
Him missing to
Healthcare.
the police.
So you deny as much healthcare as possible so you can make a greater profit. So these guys made $20 billion in profit the other day. I don't mind people making profits from jeans, burgers, etc. God bless, right? You're adding on top of the things that are guaranteed. I don't mind that at all. But when you're denying 32%, almost a third of the people through 18 different tricks, endless tricks, and then all these folks die because they don't have health insurance, they're gonna get mad. And I'm not saying this to encourage vigilante violence. I'm saying this as a warning. Like, the vigilante violence is going to break out whether we agree or disagree, whether we condemn it or not. And I'll give you other examples that, like, on crime. I'm like, guys, if you don't do something about crime in LA, people are going to start taking it into their own hands. And they did. And then we started seeing vigilante justice against criminals, and then unfortunately against homeless people, etc. Because when you bottle things up, people go, enough of this shit, and you get vigilante justice.
By the way, and that's what Joker 1 was really all about, which is why I walked that 42 minutes into the movie. I said, this is not a good movie. This is a dividing movie. But there's a part of it that is true, and it happens. In regards to, you said a lot of different things. In regards to private healthcare versus, public, the government offers it, all that stuff. And I just don't think anything public does better than private. I just don't think they do. That's my only argument to that. And I do say regularly, what's the business model of hospitals? The more beds filled, the more money they make. They need more sick people, right? Okay, what's the business model of military, companies that sell weapons? They need more wars. What's the business model? We're on the same page there.
Hotels, they need beds filled.
That's the shooter's picture right there. That's the shooter, who the person is. By the way, there's a story going out. This may or may not be true. In February of this year, United Health had a cyber breach in February, if I'm not mistaken. I think a day before or a day of. You guys can go do your own due diligence. This article is spreading all over the place as well. I don't know if it's factual or not. The Pelosi's, they're famous for making investments into certain things.
Psychics.
On the same day, Pelosi made her second purchase of call options of Palo Alto Network cybersecurity company that was later chosen to investigate the breach. So United Healthcare CEO was killed by a masked gunman, and it shows the investment. You know how they always track the Nancy Pelosi tracker?
Yeah.
And there's an account on Twitter that's going on. Again, go do the research of this on your own. If you can go on the timeline, Rob, of what happened, the one on New York Post, it does a great job explaining the timeline of events that took place. If you go a little bit lower, go a little lower, right there. So at 6:44 a.m., the victim is walking alone towards the New York Hilton Midtown after visiting his hotel across the street. The shooter, who was lying in wait alongside the building, fires at him. Okay. Then the shooter then runs to an alleyway between 54th and 55th Street. Once the West 55th Street, the shooter continues to walk on the 6th Avenue, where he gets onto electrical city bike. Then shooter rides north on 6th Avenue towards Central Park. At 6:48 a.m., the shooter rides the bike into Center Drive. Okay. And since then, there's been nothing.
And mind you, the eyewitnesses were there. There was a bunch of them on the news. They're like, this guy waited for him outside for hours overnight, waiting. Like he wanted to hit that guy. Like it was meant for him.
Premeditated.
For sure.
How do they not find this guy in New York City? It's the most cameras operated city in the world potentially. How do they not find this guy?
They got the photos of him because apparently he went to Starbucks because you can't pass up peppermint mocha. It's the holidays.
That's
and he's on an e-bike, so he's going green. But think about it. He can't be in a car.
How do you get the e-bike? You gotta have a credit card.
Exactly, but there's no getaway. You can't take an Uber in Manhattan. You got to get on the bike. He planned it, and then on the bike. But then, like you said, Adam, his face is out there. Now, in 2 days, 3 days, you're gonna find out who this guy is and what happened with him in the insurance side of it. But then going back to you, Check. If you think about it, this guy, if he was insider trading and he's lying to the people and he's denying 37% of the claims and people are dying because of it, would you think that he belongs in jail if he's guilty for insider trading and ruining people's lives and 75,000 people?
So two different things. If he's doing insider trading, that's illegal and crime should go to prison, right? On the denying, no, as much as I loathe it, we have to change the system. Putting him in jail doesn't make any sense, right? So, and by the way, killing him doesn't make any sense. Doesn't change the system, right? So you got to change the fundamental structure here because otherwise they're going to make a profit off of our deaths for the rest of the time. Like literally no other developed nation allows this. So this is madness. And so let's change the way things are done rather than just hitting one guy or putting somebody in jail. But there's a million things that look here. I'll give you an example. I don't know if you guys will like it, but Rick Scott, now senator from Florida,
former governor,
committed the largest Medicare fraud in American history. His company did. He was the CEO of it. The company says, yes, we're guilty. Okay. And they pay a fine. My guess is it was a percentage of the profits that they made from that scam, right? Now, guys, you should be super pissed about that. They robbed us. The Medicare is us, our taxpayer money, right? And they said, okay, the company is guilty, but the guy who made all the decisions, the CEO, not guilty. But wait, what the fuck is this? I mean, you can't send a company to jail, right? But in that case, it was actually illegal. They stole over $1 billion and nobody goes to jail. No, the next time a company is guilty, some human being is guilty. Don't tell me, and Democrats and Republicans do this. Corporations are guilty. They'll pay 20% of their profits that they did from that scam, but nobody goes to jail. No, F that. You break the law and the company's guilty. Whoever did it, you're going to jail.
And that's going to, I agree 100%. And that's the point I was trying to make. Going right back to Fauci, that type of attitude, that type of policies and shit, if people are dying and you're lying, I want you, and it's not just a blanket. I want people to go to prison. No change. Certain people have to pay the price.
We could go hours on healthcare and debate all this, but it's very interesting to me that there's actually a war going on in healthcare, that they're against each other. The insurance companies are on one side and the pharma's on the other. Did you know that there is actually restrictive statutes that prevent the federal government from negotiating the prices of Medicare drugs? And actually, under Biden, it was bipartisan that they finally, you're nodding, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
they finally got it through. And I think the first list of drugs was a hysterical total of 10. I think it was 10.
They started with 1, but they said, don't worry, through the next 2-3 years, we'll get all the way up to 10.
Wow.
They can actually negotiate prices on 10. Well, guess who's forced to pay the prices on those? The insurance companies. Yeah. The insurance companies are no sweethearts, right? You go look at this, but there's an example that even inside this terribly broken healthcare system where our life expectancy has gone down, we spend more than any country in the world on healthcare, and we don't have the statistical outcome that you think, oh, you guys must be the healthiest and living longest. No, we're not. And it's just ironic that there's this war going on between pharma and insurance company inside that entire broken healthcare system, which is more lobbyists than the Department of Defense.
So I love what Tom's saying. Let me just build off that. A couple of quick points. So first of all, on Medicare negotiating drug prices, we're not allowed to negotiate drug prices. That's not a thing that any other country does. That's insanity. That is corporatism run amok. That's corruption run amok. Because what part of the free market says, no, you're not allowed to negotiate prices? You must accept a price that a company tells you. That's insane. I've never heard of that in my life. That's a free market killer. It's totally against capitalism, right? And Bush is the one who put it in place. Then Obama ran ads. It was called Billy. It was one of his most successful ads, saying, can you believe this? They won't even let us negotiate drug prices. We just have to pay whatever ransom the drug companies want, right? And then Obama got in, so we're not negotiating drug prices. Okay, let's be honest. Trump said he was going to do it. He got in. He didn't negotiate drug prices. Biden got in, not negotiating drug prices. Why? Because Big Pharma is the #1 donor group in the whole country. Like I complain about APAC all the time and how much money they put in and control the politicians, etc. APAC's got nothing on Big Pharma. Big Pharma is gigantic. And to your point, Tom, about how much of our life expectancy they take from us, this combined industry that has become totally captured the government and then use it against the American people. Those countries that all other developed nations that have universal health care, they live on average. It costs twice as much for us. We pay twice as much. That's insanity. And we live on average 4 years shorter than them. So they're taking 4 years of all of our lives on average. Okay. We got to change that system.
Everybody is on the mindset of future looks bright. And we've been saying this for a few years. We want 1 million people to wear the gear future looks bright. If you notice one thing, I was sitting down with a few different people. The most common question being asked for me this week was, Pat, how come you don't take sponsors anymore? I said, because.
Okay, there's that one. And I'm going to play the second one here. It's not that we're condoning violence, but look at how much attention like this really, really, really ripped the healthcare industry bullshit wide the fuck open worldwide. It's never had this much attention and exposure ever. Luigi's family owned nursing homes, country clubs, a radio station, all kinds of shit. They were very, very wealthy. Right? It's not that we're happy. We're just, it's kind of like we're relieved that finally attention is being brought to one of the biggest issues in America. It's crazy. And
Courthouse. If you have that, let me just read this while you're looking for it. So, oh, you have it? Okay, let me just read this real quick. Luigi Mangione, the man charged with the murder and the death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, broke his day of silence with an outburst as he was escorted into a Pennsylvania courthouse where he challenged his arrest. It's completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and its lived experience. Mangione shouted, prompting his detail of about 10 officers to hurry him inside. Dressed in orange jumpsuit, Mangione appeared unfazed. He was seen whispering with his attorney, Thomas Dickey, great last name, glancing at reporters and mumbling to himself at the Blair County Court hearing around 2 p.m. Prosecutors say he has 8,000.
y'all know whenever we seen him in the orange jumpsuit and he was yelling, it's his unjust to the American people and stuff, whatever. Allegedly, Luigi is only 5'7", and that when he was going irate, you know, we seen that him getting out of the car, he looked a lot taller than 5'7". Because I'm 5'5", 5.5. I'm almost 5'6", and he looks taller. I don't know. Right? Doesn't he look taller than 5'7"? It's crazy.
$1,000 in U.S. cash and $2,000 in foreign cash, masks, a passport on him, in addition to a ghost gun and a
Same
silencer
Megs, at least
resembling the weapon
6.
killed to kill Thompson when he was apprehended by police in Altoona on Monday. Go ahead, Rob.
Down.
See, look, he is taller than 5'7".
Intelligence of the American people.
Watch that again.
Masks, a passport on him, in addition to a ghost gun and a silencer resembling the weapon killed to kill Thompson when he was apprehended by police in Altoona on Monday. Go ahead, Rob.
Down.
Completely out of touch. And the insult, intelligence of the American people, and life experience.
He's taller than all them cops.
Complete insult to the intelligence of humankind.
To the American people.
Can you play it again on what he says? Did you catch what he said, Rob, or no?
Insult to the
Go a
intelligence
little bit
of the
back.
American people.
Yep. And why they won't let him say nothing? Like, he can talk.
Completely out of touch.
Out of touch.
And the insult, intelligence of the American people, and life experience.
I know, Megs.
Okay, it's really
Insult
three
to
things.
the
American
intelligence of the
American
American people
people
and their lived experience.
and their lived experience.
Yes.
Right. And their lived experience. So I got something here yesterday that was sent to me that I was reading, and I kind of showed it with you guys with Tom. Okay, Rob, if I'll text this to you, if you don't mind showing this, I'll keep reading it so the audience can see it as well on the timeline of what happened here. Okay. So it was interesting reading this. The story says, born into a wealthy family, attends a $40,000 a year private school, becomes valedictorian, earns a bachelor's and master's in computer science by 26, no criminal record, no behavior red flags, clean slate, sharp dressed, photogenic, active on social media, vacations abroad, posts polished photos, looks like he's thriving, lands internship and builds a resume that screams success, spends free time exploring AI, mushrooms, and self-optimization trends, writes a Goodreads review on TED Case Sprinkles and Safe Edgy, joins the professional world, follows the system scripts perfectly, no sign of instability, just another rising star in tech scene, disappears with friends for 3 months, then he kills the CEO. What happened for those 3 months? Who are the friends? What do we know about him? Now, while this is going on, 50 Cent posted something, Rob, if you don't mind pulling this up on 50 Cent. 50 Cent posted this on Instagram. On Instagram, he posted a picture of Luigi. And then he said something like, you won't understand me posting this. Do you see it? Or maybe it was, he's not a guy that would take it down. He posted something and said, you won't understand this, but I made the 50 Cent, Luigi Mangione. He said something about, I don't know. I kind of like this kind of killer. Right there, zoom in. Do you see it right there? Zoom in a little bit. I don't know. I kind of like this killer. I'm sorry that this is going this way since deleted the post. Makes sense. I'm sorry this is going this way. It is, but I'm doing a documentary on him. He is special. I apologize in advance for anyone who doesn't understand. 50 Cent said this about the guy. So, Vinny, what do you know so far about what's going on since the last podcast?
And you mentioned this
Don't
yesterday.
apologize,
in the prep.
Megs.
It doesn't
Don't apologize,
make any
love.
sense.
I'm the same with
I
you.
keep hearing these stories. Every time something like this happens, I take a step back. Like when Adam, when you say, follow the money, sometimes I'm like, what is happening? What makes somebody do something like this? And it came out of nowhere, and it's a complete shock to everybody. In the book Chaos, remember the book Chaos that Candace told me to recommended by Tom O'Neill? Pat, it was talking about the CIA, Charles Manson, and all the 60s and what they were doing back in those days. There was a cycle. Sometimes I'm like, what?
I actually, this book they're talking about, the chaos. I have that book. I read it, and yeah, because I'm a Charles Manson fan.
What is happening? What makes somebody do something like this? And it came out of nowhere, and it's a complete shock to everybody. In the book Chaos, remember the book Chaos that Candace told me to recommended by Tom O'Neill? Pat, it was talking about the CIA, Charles Manson, and all the 60s and what they were doing back in those days. There was a psychiatrist, and for those that have read the book, who spoke to Jack Ruby. Remember the guy that shot Lee Harvey Oswald in the basement? So his name was Dr. Louis Jolyon Jolly West. His name was Dr. Jolly West. He was a prominent psychiatrist with documented ties to the CIA's MK Ultra program. He was focused on mind control experiments. They used drugs, they used psychological manipulation, and other techniques. So while Ruby's in prison, this Dr. West, who has connections to the CIA, examined Ruby for several hours by himself, no cameras or nothing, just talking to him in the prison. And when he was done with him, he had lost his mind. He literally lost his mind. He was saying stuff like, I was injected with something. I'm being silenced. He was like a completely different person. He's like, they're going to kill the Jew. Like he lost his gourd. Okay. And once he left that several hour meeting, his mental state deteriorated and it led to his death. So my thing is, and great point, who was talking to this guy? Who and why? Is it a distraction? Was this guy unleashed to do whatever he was going to do because of all the stuff that's happening in Syria, the stuff that's happening with Jay-Z? I don't know. It just doesn't add up. And all this is going to be is in the news for another week, Pat, and then it's gone. And then we don't hear about this guy. But the explanation, I would like to get deeper.
Connect that for me a little bit better.
Yes.
The psychiatrist goes in. So Jack Ruby kills Oswald.
Yes.
The cop moves out of the way. They all believe that Ruby was told to do it.
Yes.
So Ruby kills Oswald.
Yes.
It's a quick trial. He's guilty. He goes to prison.
Yes.
This guy connected to the CIA.
Dr. Jolly West.
Jolly West goes to review him, hour or two, whatever it was.
Several hours.
Several hours. And you're saying when that guy leaves the prison, he was bonkers.
Lost his mind.
Okay.
And he said he was injected with something while he was there. He said he was injected and he was trying to be silenced. And then he literally lost his mind.
Okay, now take that back now to this guy.
Yes. While he was for these 3 months that he was gone, who got to him? Who spoke with him? Who radicalized him?
He's saying, could somebody have could somebody have taken him during those 90 days to shape his mindset to take out and do something like this?
Yep, I agree, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
There was deep investigations. You can go look at the London subway bombings. What's that, 12 years ago now? Something like that? The London subway bombings. And you can go find out what they found out about the radical Muslim clerics. And people said, Yeah, 20 years ago now. This is now 20 years ago, 2005. That people said, yes, I'm a Muslim, but we're peaceful Muslims. This is what we care about. But my son was with these clerics, and it didn't take long. To your point, Pat, what happens in those 90 days?
That's what I'm
And people said that there were confused Muslim parents that when you listen to them speak, they didn't seem like, out there. It sounded like that Muslim was their faith, but they were not radicalized, and they were shocked at what had happened at the hands of these clerics in such a short time with their kids. So there are precedents we have out there to say, wow, something can happen pretty quick if people that know what they're doing get to your kid and to get to a person and turn them into a pawn. That didn't look like.
So why don't we do this? Okay. Can we do this? Can we map out what the possibilities are? Okay. From the logical one to the wildest one. Okay. Let's kind of go through it. One, the surgery that happened on his back, Rob, if you can pull up the surgery on his back, the pictures of the surgery on his back. You know which one I'm talking about. There's a picture right there, right? That's him. Can you see it? Newsweek. Okay. So did Luigi Mangioni's back pain surgery go wrong? Click on the story. Let's see what that is. Go wrong. What we know about this story. All right. Zoom in a little bit. So let's read this. Mangioni was facing charges. Okay. Got it. Since the shooting, December 4th, significant speculation on motivation. The bullets killed down. Okay. Now, okay. Back pain. According to reports from Forbes, Mangioni posted on Reddit that is pain in his back in the months before the shooting, writing, my spondy went bad on me last year. It was completely devastating as a young athletic person. According to WAPO, friends of Mangioni said that the reason he moved to Hawaii, which is his registered last address, was to get better health. Mangioni posted on his X-ray of his spine on social media with the image appearing to indicate a case of spondylolisthesis, okay? A condition caused by vertebrae slipping out of place, which can cause chronic pain. In analysis of the image, neurosurgeon Tyler Cole said that the surgery Mangioni received appeared to be suboptimal, and that he would likely have continued to experience nerve pain after the operation. Go a little lower.
So this is an expert doctor commenting on what he saw.
That's right. So the lack of good ALIF, along with the subsidence, likely worsened the L5 radicular pain by not restoring disc height and causing neuroforaminal compression. You can fuse with continued misalignment as long as disc height is restored and foramen are open. But the overall point is valid. Looks like suboptimal surgery. Okay, so the doctor speaking in the doctor language. In the analysis of the X-ray, Grunch said this potentially could mean he even suffered from failed spinal fusion. A failed spinal fusion could lead to chronic back. Okay, individual. Okay, very aware of this. I totally understand this part. I take care of these kinds of patients all the time, and it is constant battle with insurance company trying to get patients what they need to help them deal with their pain. Okay, so simple. Hey, man, you did the surgery. My pain is worse. You and I, we talk about this all the time, right?
Yep.
And you go to the doctor. There's 3 things we can do. We can do surgery. No, you can do the PRP. All right, whatever. You can do the steroids, or you can do the stem cell. Here's one thing you can do: stem cell out of your joint, the bone that puts it, the marrow, and that's the high quality. We can improve it. All right. I don't recommend. We can burn the nerve.
That's what they want to do with me now,
right?
Yeah.
We burn the nerve, and it kind of alleviates some of the pain every year, and then maybe you'll burn it again and burn it again, burn it again. But almost everybody you talk to is, don't do a surgery on your back.
Period.
90% of people say, if you don't have to do, don't do it. All right. Is that a reason to kill somebody? Maybe. Let's set that aside. 1, speculation. 2, go, 90 days. The story you said, they got to him, brainwashed him, whatever happened, prepared him to go out there and take him out.
Yes.
Okay. 3, bad friends, manipulation, hardcore, hating the government, hating insurance industry. Let's do something about it. Somebody told him, I will take this guy out. That's 4. 5, Brian Thompson is going to it. Somebody got this guy to go take him out because of whatever reasons that was going to happen. Okay. 6, Brian Thompson, who had the highest percentage of declines, 32%. Highest percentage of declines, 32%. Maybe he was going to go in and recommend to say, guys, we got to kind of become industry standard. We're hated by everybody right now. We can't be doing this. And the investors are like, no. We can't do this.
Yeah.
We got to take this guy out. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Accountant. Shout out to Kevin O'Connor, a phenomenal director. The Accountant, remember that investigation he did, that he found that was happening. They're like, wait a minute, you got to get the hell out of here. You're getting a little bit too deep into this stuff. I mean, what else could it be outside of that, Tom? Vinny, what else could it be outside of that?
I'm trying to rack my brain because I was thinking maybe somebody in this family got screwed over by the thing.
But that's not the case. We read yesterday, family, third Tuesday. Family's a very, very well-off family. 37 grandkids. He's one of the 37 grandkids. The rest of them are doing apparently fine. And he's the guy that kills the CEO.
And that's where you have to ask yourself a question. Because when we talk about MK Ultra, you talk about the CIA, people want to just brush you off. From the 50s to the 70s, they were doing this stuff. Verbal manipulation, LSD, drugs. And think about it. It's 2024. You know how advanced they have to have gotten? I don't know the actual motive. Is it to distract us? Is it because they wanted to actually take this guy out? It doesn't take that long. If it took Jolly West, and this is documented, this psychiatrist worked with the CIA imagine that was for a couple hours with Ruby. If you have 3 months with this guy, Easy money. Just the way he did it, guys. Tom, I'm an expert marksman and two guns. Okay, if I had a gun and you shoot all the time, why are you stopping, sitting while he's walking away, a moving target, and you're doing this? A real shooter, you just walk up, bow, one shot behind the head, and you walk away. This was just boom, like a robot. It doesn't match. It doesn't make sense.
Where are you going with that? Doesn't match as in like
the shooting, the killing. He's not a shooter.
So it's not a pro hit.
Exactly. It's not a pro hit.
Did you see the other picture? The picture with the eyebrows. The fact that the eyebrows don't match.
They don't match.
Have you seen that one, Rob? Luigi Mangione, you type in eyebrows, and everybody's talking about not that one. It's the other one right there. No, there's one that's one that's a better one that shows the eyebrows just don't match. You know, one eyebrow, the eyebrows were more divided in that picture. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's that one or not. Anyways,
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think is he going to be able to talk? Are we going to hear him? Are we going to be able to hear why and what? Is he going to be on one of those interviews where we could sit with him? You really think so? I'm very intrigued to find out who's going to talk to this guy. That's it right there. Like he has some bushy eyebrows. That's before. That's when the shooting happened, and now all of a sudden he's grown. He looks Middle Eastern from there, but I don't know. I don't see us talking to this guy.
Adam, what do you think?
This is a very disturbing situation because let's just start some facts and then some opinions, and I want to give you some quick headlines. Allegedly, and we're going to use that word very lightly, this guy just murdered this guy in cold blood from behind, 6 a.m, silencer, gun, boom, dead. So my question is, why are so many people sympathetic to this guy? Specifically on the left, why do so many people on the left treat this guy as a hero? I'm in a group chat with a bunch of my buddies. They're like, he did the right thing. They needed to do this. I said, he needed to cold-blooded murder the CEO of this company. Here's this guy, Brian Thompson, came from a middle-class family, worked his way up, became CEO of a massive company. We all understand what that. But then you read some of the headlines, and what I'm trying to do is unpack why people feel a certain way about this, right? So the alleged killer has ill will toward corporate America. We understand that. Corporate profits, United Healthcare, double what the industry average of declination rates was. Joe Rogan had some things to say. He was speaking with Quentin Tarantino. He said the following, healthcare industry, it's effing gross. It's a dirty, dirty business. The business of insurance is effing gross, especially healthcare insurance. It's effing gross. That's Joe Rogan. We saw what Burger King, I'm not sure if it was true or not true. What happened with that? I texted this, Rob. If they actually did this, they said, Burger King, we don't snitch. Almost mocking
but wait a minute.
the fact that
I said I didn't find it on their Twitter.
Okay,
account.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it was true or not true.
Yeah.
So
I don't think they tweeted it.
The point is, people are making a joke of someone being murdered in cold blood.
Can you explain why you put that? Why did Burger King say we
Because he was caught in McDonald's, and McDonald's basically called the cops on him, as they should.
And
if a man
when
on the
they
run.
did,
Yes.
what ended up happening is Google, McDonald's got so many negative reviews that Google had to pull the negative. Is this
Correct.
the part, Rob?
Here's the
Put
part
this
right
up
here.
real quick, 30 seconds. Just put this up.
It's the McDonald's where he was spotted. It's called review bombing. Negative, even one-star reviews have flooded the restaurant's Google and Yelp pages, forcing the two companies to remove the comments. Some of them had terms like rats and snitches.
And even before Mangione was identified, legions of online.
It's disgusting to the point where people are just mocking murder. So in New York, New Yorkers celebrate the assassination of United Healthcare CEO with a look-alike contest. This is the winner right here. The winner, you know how much money the winner won from doing this, from doing a look-alike contest from the murder? You know how much money they won? A whopping, ready? $50. Right. They held a controversial shooter look-alike contest in Washington State Park, mocking the assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. So there we go. And then you had the girl Taylor Lorenz, we talked about her, Pierce Morgan, saying, I felt joy about this. Guys, this guy was murdered in cold blood.
What's the professor, Rob? Pull up the professor.
Yeah, the professor. Here we go. There's a professor of Columbia.
This is her? Penn.
Oh, no, was it Penn?
Play this clip, Rob.
So I can't play it. She has music in the background, but this is the clip.
I've never been prouder to be a professor at the University of Pennsylvania.
Okay, Penn, here it is.
Blue hair.
No, here it is right here. Julia Alexievia faced backlash after celebrating Luigi Mangione, celebrating him. She is a socialist and an anti-fascist on TikTok, including where she wrote, I've never been prouder to be a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, accompanied by the song, Do You Hear the People Sing? She reportedly called Mangione the icon we all need and deserve.
What a disgusting, like
Absolutely
unbelievable. Like what the hell are you, bro? Yet again, the left is showing their freaking true colors, man. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
You know, my interest is understanding why so many people are treating this guy like a hero.
Well, what people?
You saw what he wrote.
This isn't new.
You saw what he wrote on the bullets. It was deny, defend, depose.
Okay.
The number one
Guys,
cause
this
for
is not
bankruptcy
new.
in America are medical bills. There's something going on here, and not that I'm condoning
First
this
of all,
whatsoever, but it is helping create a conversation.
We've done so many episodes on hospitals ripping people off per night that they're staying there. Health insurance. I left the health insurance industry specifically because of how it was half the time. Like every single time you wanted to use something for the services, well, you know, this was going to be this. Well, I don't know about this. And well, I don't know about this. Well, I don't know about this. And then you watch John Q. And John Q was a movie where it's like, dude, like this is a little out of control. And then you see the number of declines. Like the reason why I like life insurance, you know what life insurance does? Like you have a 2-year incontestability clause, right? That
the
they came up
CNS period,
with. Yeah, which means guess what? If I buy life insurance and I don't tell you have AIDS, and you know, all of a sudden you die in 6 months, and it's like, oh, $2 million. What happened? You just only paid $600 a premium, and I got to pay $2 million. I'm going to investigate it. Incontestability clause. No, we're not doing this. You didn't disclose that to us. Boom, you used somebody else's blood when they tested you. This isn't you. We're not paying the $2 million. Insurance companies can do that for 2 years to protect them.
Wow.
Happens all the time. After 2 years, guess what? Hey, it is what it is. We have to pay the premium out. Life, then PNC. Right now, the problem with auto insurance is auto insurance companies are not making money right now. So they're leaving states.
I remember.
Like property and casualty companies are leaving states like Florida, and they're leaving states like California, and they're leaving states where there's a lot of theft with cars being stolen. New York, some of the like, dude, it's just not profitable to be there, right? Health insurance, man. Those guys are freaking, you know, on big pharma, what they do with a medicine that you can sell for $5, they sell it for $2,000 because they can. There's a lot of that going on, and that's the part that you're hoping Bobby and some of these guys do something about. But at what cost? To celebrate killing a CEO?
I don't play that.
No, you got to be careful with that, Tom.
There's a couple of things going on here. So let's just for one moment, you know, step away from the fact that it was health insurance industry and all the gooey grime and disgust that we're talking about. Let's just look at the celebration over the killer. There is underlying a war going on in this country with socialist Marxists that literally want capitalist conservatives dead. I'll prove it to you. Do you remember the Boston bombing? The two brothers, Sarnov, I think it was TSA.
Sarnayev. He ended up on the cover of
Rolling Stone.
Yeah, Rolling Stone.
He's on the cover of Rolling Stone as the hot terrorist and being glamorized.
Ridiculous.
Let's remember what happened there. That a week prior, he ran over his brother, killing him in the police chase. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He ran over his brother.
Yeah, of course.
Who the two of them that had made the
Pressure cooker.
the pressure cooker crockpot bombs with nails and everything in there designed to go
10
off
years
like
ago,
a
11
grenade.
years ago, right, Tom?
More than that, isn't it?
I want to say it was 2013. I could be wrong.
2013.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, there it was.
So remember the romantic moment they had with him. It's the same. Forget about healthcare just for a second. It's the same romantic response from certain members of the left, socialist Marxists, that like it when they think of these guys as freedom fighters. They think of these guys as soldiers in their cause. Don't mistake that.
Yeah.
That's why they're like, I've never been prouder. Oh, this guy. And so I don't know what 50 Cent is saying and what he's meaning or what he's not meaning, but there's a lot of voices go out there like, oh, this is Joy from a reporter who's clearly a socialist Marxist. She absolutely is. She hates capitalism. She hates Trump. She hates all that it stands for. She's there. There is a romantic love when one of their guys breaks through because it's simple. They think he's a soldier.
Yeah, I think it's such a great point because the Boston bomber, how they romanticize this guy, put him on the cover. There's a direct line from this guy, an actual terrorist who killed Americans in the Boston bombing, right to the Gays for Gaza Brigade, basically celebrating Hamas terrorists killing innocent people. There's something going on there with
What,
the
what about the member of the night?
You're right,
Remember-
Adam. They think the left Marxist thinks they're soldiers. I've never been more
Freedom
proud
fighters,
to be at
yeah.
University of Penn because we helped educate, and this
Yes.
guy is a soldier in the cause. And look at the people that are
Rob.
showing up.
Yeah. Remember the Night Stalker, serial killer and rapist in California. You remember this guy, Richard Ramirez? Bro, he got married. Girls were coming and like they had a crush
Guys,
on
it
this.
just happened recently with Wade Phillips. What was the guy's name? Wade, not Wade Phillips.
Wade Wilson.
Wade
The
Wilson.
coach.
No, Wade Wilson. This guy.
Who's this guy?
Who girls were
Girls love the
crazy
guy.
about for
Like
this guy.
it's like, oh,
The hand
he
signals
rapes
he
and
would do.
kills women, and
Yeah.
they're like, he got married.
Well,
while he was
listen,
in-
totally
Think about
understand
it.
that.
Like the professor thing.
Oh,
You know,
man.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, I'm not bringing him into this, but when you built nothing and you're just, all you do, those that can't do, teach, and you're just in school and you're getting educated and you're in these Marxist universities, you've never built a company, you have no employees,
Let's go to
all
the
you want to
story.
do is take.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many DMs I got from people telling me, Pat, I want my Christmas hat. Where is it? Well, the reason it wasn't shipped yet is because we sold 1,000 more than we had, and that hat just arrived yesterday. We just shipped out 1,000 of these, I think, today. That's going out. And by the way, for those of you that want it that you didn't get it because it was gone, we got a few hundred more for you to get. And if you order before the 15th, you can gift this to a family pre-Christmas.
Nice.
And people are buying 5, 10, 15 of these at a time to gift somebody because it says Merry Christmas. It says Future Looks Bright, Valuetainment here, and Future Looks Bright here. These are, if you're somebody that's church going and you like the actual word Christ, Merry Christmas, these are here as well. Limited supply left just for this season. And then these sweaters, I saw Chris Mano, shout out to Chris Mano. The Happy Holidays crossed out Merry Christmas. Incredible quality sweaters are here. You can go to VT Merch. And last but not least, these hoodies.
Okay, that's all of that. Yeah, there's so much shit going on right now. I'm surprised though that Trump hasn't spoke out about this. Either way, or there's one more thing I want to play, and I'm going to end this, and I'll go live tomorrow. I'll look more of it when I have all my shit together, or maybe a couple more.
As we are continuing to follow breaking news where police are questioning a person of interest in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
And good afternoon to you at 4 o'clock. I'm David Ushery.
I'm Natalie Pascarello. We want to get right out to News 4's Mark Santia. He is live in Altoona, Pennsylvania. That's where a man is being interviewed by the NYPD right now. Mark.
Yeah, Natalie and David, Altoona is home to about 40,000 people. As you can imagine, this is causing quite a stir. You take a look behind me, media and residents here surrounding the police station. Moments ago, an NYPD caravan pulled up. Several NYPD detectives, including Deputy Commissioner Kaz Daughtry, arrived here at the Altoona police station. This is where the person of interest is being held, and this is where the investigation is entering another phase. A 5-day nationwide manhunt coming to an end 300 miles from New York City. Police in Altoona, Pennsylvania, arresting 26-year-old Luigi Mangione in connection with the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
The suspect was in a McDonald's and was recognized by an employee who then called local police.
The McDonald's employee recognizing Mangione from one of these photos sent out by the NYPD after Wednesday morning's attack in Midtown Manhattan. Altoona police questioning Mangione, finding a trove of evidence, including a fake New Jersey ID and a gun. Police described as a ghost gun.
Upon further investigation, officers recovered a firearm on his person, as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder.
Police say they also found a mask and clothes matching what the shooter was wearing on Wednesday, and police found a 3-page handwritten note that speaks to a possible motive.
Preliminarily, like I said, he seems that he has some ill will toward corporate America.
Mangione is currently being held at the Altoona police station. Late this afternoon, NYPD officers and the FBI arriving to question him. Police crediting the public for the crucial tip that led to Mangione's arrest.
We should never underestimate the power of the public to be our eyes and our ears in these investigations.
Back here live in Altoona, Pennsylvania, where there's a heavy NYPD police presence. 2 more detectives, Natalie and David, just walked into the police station there. Now, Mangione's being held here. At this point, he is not charged with the Midtown murder. He's currently being held here on gun charges. We're live in Altoona, Pennsylvania. I'm Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
Likely a long few hours there, Mark. Thank you for updating us from the scene of where this person of interest is being held. There are, of course, a lot of questions about the identity of the man who is going to be questioned by police.
I want to bring in Chief Investigative Reporter Jonathan Deans, picking up our team coverage from the newsroom. John.
Natalie, David, the man in custody on the weapons charge in Pennsylvania appears to have an Ivy League education with a master's degree. And investigators are looking at angry writings posted online about healthcare firms and past acts of violence to see if those postings are linked to that man and this murder investigation here. Investigators say the strong person of interest is Luigi Mangione, 26 years old, and he was allegedly carrying this ghost gun at the McDonald's along with a suppressor. They say it is similar to the kind of weapon used in the shooting of the United Healthcare CEO, but they say ballistics and other work still needs to be done. They also say Mangione was found carrying this fake New Jersey ID with the name Mark Rosario. Several officials say that is the same name and same ID used by the suspected killer who checked into this Upper West Side hostel in the days before the shooting. Investigators providing more detail about Mangione's background earlier.
He was born and raised in Maryland. We know he has ties to San Francisco, California, and his last known address was Honolulu, Hawaii. He has no prior arrest history in New York.
Pennsylvania authorities are holding Mangione on a gun charge for now, as NYPD investigators go to Altoona to question him. Officials say he was carrying a 3-page letter complaining about companies at the time of his arrest at that McDonald's.
Officers recovered a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivation and mindset.
Investigators are also looking into social media and whether the person of interest had complained about having past back problems that had needed medical attention. They were also looking at other past, quote, revolutionary type writings posted to social media to see if Mangione is behind those writings. A person with the same name appears to have been a high school valedictorian, and a spokesman at the University of Pennsylvania says Mangione graduated from there with a bachelor's and master's degree in engineering. Investigators tell us they're looking to see if Mangione arrived at the McDonald's in Altoona via bus from Philadelphia. The NYPD said last week that they believe the suspected gunman left New York from the George Washington Bridge bus terminal via bus. The NYPD and FBI have been following hundreds of tips and leads of possible names from New York to Atlanta to Pennsylvania. But this tip from workers and customers at that McDonald's appears to be the big break.
He's going to be facing gun charges there, and at some point we'll work out through extradition to bring him back to New York to face charges here.
Investigators also looking at other online postings making reference to the past Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, and whether the suspect here posted any of those writings. Again, with a gun allegedly recovered in Altoona, the NYPD still continues to try to follow up leads in Central Park, where they're looking to see if the suspected gunman left any additional evidence behind as he fled that murder scene. Natalie?
Chief investigative reporter Jonathan Dienst with new information. John, you mentioned the city because right now, as you said, NYPD fanning out all across our city looking for more clues into the investigation and into the death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
Let's get down to News 4's Jessica Cunnington picking up our coverage from City Hall. Jessica?
Yeah, guys, the NYPD brass and also the mayor, we heard from them here at City Hall today, how this investigation is still very much pushing forward in our city. And they also spoke about how all of the work so far led to today.
Jules, ghost guns are illegal everywhere. Yeah, it's wild how they said that you can order like these 3D printed parts off of Amazon and stuff, because I've been looking into that too. Like you can order these 3D parts off of Amazon to build a fucking gun to kill someone. And they said that in Altoona, I don't know why he was there, but he was trying to rent a hotel room there, and the rooms weren't cleaned yet, you know, because people just checked out stuff. There wasn't no hotel available yet. And that's how Luigi ended up at McDonald's. He went to McDonald's to wait for his hotel room to be done. So that could be why he had all of his stuff with him. Yeah, they're illegal. They don't have a serial number. They're not documented or anything. Yeah, they're illegal as fuck. It's crazy.
Is major development. NYPD divers back in the water in Central Park this morning looking for evidence related to the deadly attack. Mayor Adams joined by NYPD Commissioner Tisch and Chief of Detectives Joe Kenny reacting to the arrest in Pennsylvania.
We have a strong person of interest in the shooting that shook our city. Our officers have been working around the clock. Many of them did not go home.
Detectives still pouring through hundreds of hours of video across the city to try to piece together the suspect's every move while he was here 10 days before the shooting, starting November 24th. Investigators believe after the targeted shooting of CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown on December 4th, he hopped on a bike and went into Central Park, ditching his backpack and eventually the bike. The suspect, the night of the shooting, last seen here at the George Washington Bridge bus terminal in Washington Heights, where police believe he got onto a bus. It is still not clear which one and how he got to Altoona, Pennsylvania. But his face in this photo, unmasked, captured at the Upper West Side hostel he stayed at, spread nationwide. The mayor praising the NYPD's work and decisions to get the images out there.
Someone, a McDonald's employee, did something we ask every American to do. If you see something, say something, but most importantly, do something. It was crucial that we were able to remove him off the streets of America, and we were going to seek him out no matter where he was at the time.
So investigators still trying to piece together the puzzle of his time here in New York City, as again, officers and detectives still digging through Central Park and video as well. Live at City Hall, I'm Jessica Cunnington. Back to you.
So much to learn. All right, Jessica, thank you. As we have throughout, we want to bring in the former chief of department at the NYPD, Terry Monahan to us. Terry, before we get specific, your initial thoughts when you heard what you did about what happened this afternoon.
Listen, when you see him grabbing 5 days later, still carrying the gun, still carrying the same ID that he utilized when he checked into the hospital that everyone knew he was at, kind of surprised me that he wasn't more meticulous, more careful, especially how careful he was leaving the city. You would figure he would have gotten rid of a lot of that information. I was very surprised to see he had it, but it makes the case so much stronger for the cops. Now that he has all that information, once the ballistics comes back, I mean, they got him pretty solid.
What do you think is the motivation behind that? A lot of people talking about why did he still have a gun on him? They're talking about that handwritten note.
Is this an opportunity where he wants to send whatever his message is out, be caught, let people know he's the one that did it, and try and give whatever his manifesto may be? We'll see. Time will tell.
Walk us through this aspect, Terry, in that there was a picture out, and everybody has theories. They're like, well, why aren't they calling him a suspect yet? And they're still not calling him a suspect yet. There are methodical things that have to happen. Walk us through a little bit.
There's a lot of things that have to go on. He has a lot of information that makes you believe he is the individual.
Hey,
but now you want to tie the
how you
ballistics
doing,
together.
bro?
That this is the gun. He's a gun that resembles it, but now ballistically it'll be tested. Will it match the shells that are on the scene? There's a bottle with DNA on it. Is his DNA going to be on that bottle? You want to put all this together so when you present the case to a grand jury and eventually to a trial, you have everything so that you can get not only an arrest, but an indictment and then a conviction.
Speak a little bit to a possible motive here. We heard Jonathan Deans talk about the angry writings possibly on social media. There might have been word about some type of surgery, a back surgery he went through. We know he graduated, they said, from UPenn. That was confirmed, Ivy League school. Talk a little bit about possible motive, what you've learned.
He's a very intelligent individual. When I understood a valedictorian at his high school, Ivy League school. So whatever his message is, I think his motivation will come out in the near future. That he's going to want to say it. I don't think he'll be quiet. We don't know. I don't think he's spoken to anyone yet. It'll be very interesting over the next couple of hours when detectives go to interview him, if he's willing to explain everything, tell the world why he did what he did. An event like this, a lot of times that individual has a message that he wants to spread out. He's caught. He's going to go to jail for the rest of his life. Is there a message that he's going to try and get out? We'll see as time goes on.
Took a few days, Terry, even after a photo was out there. Does that surprise you now that we are here at this moment where they believe they have found the person?
This is what we talk about. You put out that photo. There were hundreds of tips coming in, and you had to go through each and every single tip. They were down in Atlanta. They were all over the country responding to tips. All of a sudden, Altoona, if someone sees them, not only is it just a tip that had to be not so much vetted, but once you grab them, there's a gun and there's that ID in the thing. It went from 0 to 100 in really just a matter of minutes.
All of us could use a little bit of luck and good timing as well, and everything that we do in terms of trying to do the right thing. All right, Terry Monahan, thank you, former Chief of Department.
Let's bring in Paul Morrow, retired NYPD inspector and a Fox News contributor, and James R. Fitzgerald, retired FBI supervisory special agent and co-host of the Cold Red podcast. Great to have both of you with us today. Paul, let me start with you. Your thoughts on the latest development.
Okay, I didn't want to play that one, but wacky. No, Megs, it's not a pineapple, baby. Look at check your text messages. Okay, let's see here. What's this thing? I'm just playing stuff that I found interesting and
in the killing of health insurance boss Brian Thompson has appeared in a Pennsylvania courtroom after being arrested in the state on Monday. This was the moment 26-year-old Luigi Mangione arrived in Blair County Courthouse in Hollidaysburg. What a fantastic name for a place. That's in Pennsylvania, where he was charged with possession of an unlicensed firearm. Just hours later, prosecutors in New York City, where Thompson was killed last week, charged Mangione with murder. New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Titch gave this account of the arrest.
The suspect was in a McDonald's and was recognized by an employee who then called local police. Responding officers questioned the suspect, who was acting suspiciously and was carrying multiple fraudulent IDs as well as a U.S. passport. Upon further investigation, officers recovered a firearm on his person as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder. They also recovered clothing, including a mask consistent with those worn by our wanted individual. Also recovered was a fraudulent New Jersey ID, matching the ID our suspect used to check into his New York City hostel before the shooting incident. Additionally, officers recovered a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivation and mindset.
According to officials, that document was a manifesto, and one police officer describes it as displaying, quote, ill will towards corporate America. The New York Times also has this detail on its contents. They say a handwritten manifesto found with Mr. Mangione on Monday mentions United Healthcare by name. Of course, the murdered man was the CEO of United Healthcare. They say the note noted the size of the company and how much money it makes, and also broadly condemned healthcare companies for placing profits over care. And that's according to a senior law enforcement official who saw the document. And the official quoted it as saying, these parasites had it coming, and, quote, I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done. Investigators also revealed last week that the bullets that killed the CEO were engraved with the words defend, deny, and depose, reportedly a reference to the tactics used by American health insurance firms to avoid paying out for clients' medical treatments. According to the American Association of Retired Persons, private health insurers turn down around 200 million claims each year in the United States, including for life-saving treatments. That's around 15% of all claims, and many are rejected on spurious grounds. Now, that may explain why the killer of the private health insurance boss has received massive amounts of online praise, with many hailing the murderer as a hero. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro wanted to address that praise following Mangione's arrest in his state.
Violence can never be used to address political differences or to address a substantive difference or to try and prove some ideological point. That is not what we do in a civilized society. That was true in Butler. It was true in New York City. It's true anywhere. That is not how you make progress in this country. The person, the suspect here, who shot at that CEO and killed that CEO is a coward, not a hero. And we need to make sure that in this country, we get back to having a civil discourse about our differences.
I agree, right? I mean, we're going to talk about this sort of later in the show, but I don't think we should support political violence. I don't think we should support assassinating anyone for political purposes. I do always find it, I suppose, unconvincing the way politicians always rush to call people who commit acts of political.
Y'all, we need to be careful what we're putting in chat, like GUN, because there has been, I know of one channel, you know, CJ, that's in the Sebastian Rogers case. He got a community strike and all kinds of stuff and lost his monetization and everything for talking about this case. So please be careful, y'all, because even though I'm not monetized, I don't want to lose my channel. Thank you, Jules. Yeah, because I will lose my channel, and because CJ got strikes and lost his monetization. But that's what he gets for exploiting Sebastian like he did. But anyways.
Violence, cowards, right? Because I think to venerate people who carry out, who do sort of political assassinations, which this seems to have been, would be very dangerous. That's not the kind of precedent we want to set. But, if of all the things one could say for the man who killed this healthcare CEO, obviously the man charged is Luigi Mangione, I don't know if coward would be the most sort of appropriate descriptor. Whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't seem like a particularly cowardly thing to do. But we always hear this after a sort of terrorist attack. They call them cowards. Now, I think they're often wrong and immoral.
Jules,
just
CJ
cowardly
lost his
seems,
monetization,
I find it unconvincing. I wonder if sort of others in the audience and people listening to the politicians might feel the same. You heard there Shapiro mention Butler. That was a reference to the attempted assassination of Donald Trump back in July. Of course, a situation where a number of people seem to be turning to political violence. That is kind of worrying, right? Let's look at Luigi Mangione in a bit more detail. He was born to a prominent Maryland family, and his relatives own country clubs, healthcare facilities, and real estate companies. So from a wealthy family. And Mangione attended the private Gilman Boys School in Baltimore at a cost of around $50,000 per year before going on to the Ivy League University of Pennsylvania, where he studied computer science. A kind of an odd position to be a kind of class warrior against CEOs. In 2022, Mangione moved to Hawaii, where he joined a co-living community called Surf Break. This was one of his former housemates speaking to CNN.
When I first interviewed him before he moved in, I remember he said he had a back issue and he was hoping to get stronger in Hawaii. So he's always focused on trying. When he first came, he went on a surf lesson with other members, and unfortunately, just a basic surf lesson, he was in bed for about a week. We had to get a different bed for him that was more firm, and I know it was really traumatic and difficult. You know, when you're in your early 20s and you can't, do some basic things, it can be really, really difficult.
Mangione's back issues seem to have been quite severe, so this spinal X-ray image appears on the background of Mangione's Twitter account, so it's in the header. Now, we don't know whether it's his spine, but a surgeon told NBC it probably showed a hardware fusion used in the treatment of the painful condition spondylolisthesis, where a spinal vertebrate moves out of place. In a handwritten note also online, Mangione appears to confirm he suffered from this condition. Another former housemate of Mangione told NBC this. Mangione lived at Surf Break from January 2022 until April of that year. It was our understanding that he left due to a lifelong back injury that was exacerbated by surfing and hiking. To our knowledge, nearly all members of Surf Break from his tenure lost contact after he left. To our knowledge, he did return to Hawaii briefly in early 2023 and started a book club. Several members left due to discomfort in book choices. Now that's an interesting little tidbit there, because a clue to what those book choices might have been can be found on what appears to be Mangione's Goodreads page. So there he seems to have reviewed a book written by Fyodor John Kaczynski, also known as the Unabomber. Now, Kaczynski killed 3 people and injured 28 more across the US in a series of mail bomb attacks. This is what Mangione wrote about industrial society and its future, which was Kaczynski's manifesto. So he said this under a review. So he gives it 4 stars, so not a full 5, but a reasonable review. And he says, it's easy to quickly and thoughtlessly write this off as the manifesto of a lunatic in order to avoid facing some of the uncomfortable problems it identifies. But it's simply impossible to ignore how prescient many of its predictions about modern society turned out. He was a violent individual, rightfully imprisoned, who maimed innocent people. While these actions tend to be characterized as those of a crazy Luddite, however, they are more accurately seen as those of an extreme political revolutionary. Mangione approvingly cites another review of the book that says this. So he says he had the balls to recognize that peaceful protest had gotten us absolutely nowhere, and at the end of the day, he's probably right. All oil barons haven't listened to any environmentalists, but they feared him. When all other forms of communications fail, violence is necessary to survive. You may not like his methods, but to see things from his perspective, it's not terrorism, it's war and revolution. Fossil fuel companies actively suppress anything that stands in their way, and within a generation or two, it will begin costing human lives by greater and greater magnitudes until the earth is just a flaming ball. And then he sort of says violence against those who lead us to such destruction is justified as self-defense. If that is Mangione's account, then he'd hardly be the first person to endorse some of Kaczynski's positions, if not his methods, of course. And when Kaczynski died last year, Elon Musk replied to a post with this. So it's a post with a quote from Kaczynski. The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. So Fyodor Kaczynski was someone who's quite critical of technology. Elon Musk says he might not be wrong. And interestingly, Mangione also appears to have been a Musk fan, having read books about him. That's according to his what looks like his Goodreads page. And a look at Mangione's Twitter account seems to show he may have shared the political views of Musk and other Silicon Valley billionaires. Many of his retweets lament wokeism, with some bemoaning diversity, equity, and inclusion. He also showed an interest in declining birth rates in countries like Japan, as well as in new technologies like lab-grown meat. Lots of these things I'm kind of interested in, but don't read too much into that. Of course, none of that seems related to the crime he's alleged to have committed. According to Mangione's statement in the Pennsylvania court, he had recently broken off all contact with his family and friends, apparently following his spinal surgery, and his mother reported him missing to police just 3 weeks before the shooting took place in New York. Now, it's a fascinating story. This idea that you can sort of, after a potential killer gets named, you can just scroll through their Twitter page, their social media, their Goodreads accounts. It all feels very, unique to our sort of current political and technological moment. However, much of the American public seems fixated on a topic somewhat more base, namely Mangione's abs. This is another of the images on Mangione's Twitter profile. It speaks for itself, really. I don't need to add any comment. Since his identification in the press, Mangione's Twitter has proved a massive hit. Actually, I don't know if it's because of the pictures or because of the tweets, but overnight he's gone from a few hundred to 320,000 followers. Twitter Trending also had a story that sort of made me chuckle a bit this morning. It lamented healthcare CEO's killer charged, public focuses on suspects' looks. Kieran, interesting. This isn't the first story we've done in the last month or so about a sort of surprisingly, well, not surprised. Why would it be surprising? A particularly attractive fugitive. But this one does seem to sort of capture the imagination of many Americans in a way which, I don't think what Josh Shapiro said is ridiculous, right? I think political violence isn't something that should be normalized. At the same time, I do think there are sort of people within the American establishment who are going to be, a bit perturbed that this is the response to, an attack on a health insurance CEO. And that I suppose does speak to something about the healthcare system in the United States.
It's a puzzle. I mean, I've been, first of all, listening to everything you've said about him and his position, some of which, I didn't know. He's clearly a very confused person, right? He's a confused person. That's the first thing I think it's important to say. This has, and I think you could almost, I found the reaction to all of this more interesting, I think, than what will ultimately prove to be the killer's motive, because it's functioned almost like a Rorschach test or something like that. A Rorschach test, for those who don't know, just a psychological test in which people were asked to interpret ink blots. And then the psychologist makes interpretations on the participants on the basis of how they interpret those ink blots. Now, I don't know if there's any real basis to it scientifically, but it's widely held test. The way that people have reacted to this really says something very often about, I've found it to say a lot about their positions. Leftists have interpreted what he did as a left-wing act, or did initially. Libertarians, perhaps more so, whatever it is that they would interpret. And yet still others, it's been a really, really interesting set of reactions to behold. I think the most important thing in all of this, to cut through all of the first traps and the Twitter trolling and, the memes and so on, the thing that I think is interesting, really genuinely interesting in all of this politically, is this question of political violence. But underpinning that, I think, is the way that it's drawn to the fore the question of structural violence. But the question of structural violence, in this case, the structural violence of the US private healthcare system, which is obviously extremely well documented outside of the United States and within the United States. There's less need for it to be documented because people have to face it very directly in their day-to-day lives. And I think there is a very serious point among all of this about that structural violence. And that conversation's always going on, but I think it has pushed it right to the top of the agenda.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. He does seem confused. I mean, his political positions don't seem that inconsistent with each other and with his actions. I mean, his political positions seem, from his Twitter, it's the kind of politics that's very popular in Silicon Valley, sort of like kind of very interested in sort of tech people, similar to Elon Musk. Elon Musk is interested in wokeness, declining birth rates. What was the other one? Sort of technological meat, lab-grown meat, that kind of stuff. He's sort of on that sort of wavelength, plus really annoyed at healthcare executives. Now, I suppose it's interesting because he doesn't seem like an anti-capitalist. He's very sort of in favor of Elon Musk and stuff. So it must be a sort of specific critique of healthcare CEOs or how the healthcare system works in the United States. I mean, the court case will be interesting.
It's going to be interesting, for sure. I got so much more I want to play, but it's getting late. And I'm tired. We will continue this. If y'all find anything else, I've got a lot of stuff saved too, but I find stuff every day, new stuff, and just let me know. Right, Jules. Oh, Jules, will you send me the link to that? And I'll save it and we will watch that tomorrow. I'll go live tomorrow. Thank you, love. I'm going to end that, and that's that. Yeah, you can text it to me. Yeah. How long is it? We could watch it now, maybe, or It ain't too long. I'm a little sleepy. I get tired. It's been a long day. We'll do that tomorrow on the next one. All 6 minutes? Yeah, text it to me. We'll definitely watch that before we get off here. There we go. Let's see. Just a second. Okay, hold on. We'll watch this real quick. I don't think I've seen this. Just a second. Yeah, let's see. Well, I have to watch some of this stuff. Hey, Mama Bear.
Hey everybody, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist as well as a body language expert, and today we're going to be analyzing the behavior and body language of Luigi Mangione. Luigi Mangione was recently arrested as the prime suspect for the murder of Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare. Before we get started with this, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go. Now, we don't have a lot of footage, but we're going to look at a couple of clips today to see what we can glean from his behavior and his body language. Let's jump right in. Now, the first thing I want you to pay attention to is the position of his chin and his nose, the way his neck is very exposed. Now, when we're feeling very vulnerable, we put our chin down. We try to protect our neck because it's a very vulnerable location. But when we put our chin up, that shows that we don't feel threatened by others. It's a sign of confidence. Some people will interpret it as arrogance. It really depends on the context of the situation. But as he's doing this right now, he doesn't hang his head down in shame. Let's go back and then we're going to keep watching. He's also walking with a good amount of intensity. Look at this right here. He's keeping his chin up, like I said, keeping his neck exposed. Oftentimes when people are feeling shame, they're going to look down, and when they're feeling defensive, they're going to block their neck. So when they're looking down in shame, that's not necessarily defensiveness. That's not wanting people to see their face. He doesn't seem to be ashamed of anything. And he may be experiencing fear right now, but that's not obvious. He's not showing body language associated with fear. Let's watch this sequence all over once again. You know, one thing you're seeing is that he's looking around very casually. Now, that may not mean much to you, but one of the things they're going to be, I'm sure, exploring here is whether or not he's got some sort of severe mental health issue, whether or not he's disconnected from reality. There's nothing obvious about that right now. If there are those kinds of issues, he seems organized enough to recognize the situation. He seems to appear to know what's going on around him. You're not seeing a blank stare or any unusual sort of looks on his face. He's also taking big strides. Once again, there does seem to be a certain degree of confidence with what's going on right now. And maybe there's a sense of pride. There doesn't seem to be any obvious shame, though. Now we're going to see him going into court for an extradition hearing because they're going to try to extradite him to New York.
We need to do it, and it's completely out of touch, and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
So I talked about the intensity before. We're seeing that much more clearly now. Let's see if we can see a little bit more of his face.
We need to do it, and it's completely out of touch, and
You can see he's baring his teeth. He's got his brow furrowed down. Those are obvious signs of anger. Once again, he has his chin up. He's standing up straight. There's anger. There's confidence. Now, I talked to the last one about how he doesn't look disorganized. We don't know whether there's anything mental health-wise. This behavior, I'm sure, is going to bring more of that into question. I don't know his mental health background, but I'm sure that will be explored in court. Let's keep watching.
an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience. We need to do it, and it's completely out of touch, and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
Now, I want you to pay a close attention to his facial expressions here, because I talked about anger before, but this seems more like rage. And if he is, in fact, guilty of what he's been accused of, you're maybe getting a better idea of the level of rage that he may be experiencing.
We need to do it, and it's completely out of touch.
See, you can really see the brow and the baring of the teeth there. There truly appears to be furiosity, anger, rage below whatever it is he's saying. I still can't fully understand what he's saying, but it seems to be something about the intelligence of the American people.
And an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
Now, that was real rage right there. You heard he stomped. And if you see his face, let me see if I can get a good shot of his face right here. Look at the rage right there. You heard him stomp and then say this. There seems to be a truly burning rage inside of him as he says this, to let out that stomp, to let out that furiosity while he has police leading him. Oftentimes people feel the need to behave in a certain way in situations like this. Oftentimes there's some degree of compliance. I'm not saying he should or shouldn't or anything like that. I'm just saying that typically what we see. Right here, we're seeing somebody that does not care about the context of what's going on. He has something he wants to say, and the rage below it all is just exploding forth.
The intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
We'll go ahead and stop here. Hopefully this is giving you a better idea of some of the behavior and body language we're already seeing from him. Now, something that was said in court was they asked him if he had any drug or mental health issues, and he said no on both accounts. Now, one thing to be very clear on is that for people that have either substance or mental health issues, typically are going to answer no to that question unless they have a very well-documented history that somehow is relevant. But we can't assume that that's necessarily true. This is going to be a very long and complicated process. I'm sure we will find out more as we continue to go on. But just because he said there's no drugs or mental health, I don't think you can take things like that at face value. Not suggesting there are those issues, but you just can't eliminate them just based on him saying that. Obviously, we saw today someone who's expressing an intense amount of rage, someone who doesn't seem to have any shame right now, and someone who also appears very confident in this situation. But whether or not there are underlying mental health issues that are related to that, I'm sure we will find out. If you have any other thoughts, please let me know in the comments below. Last thing before we get finished up is I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, thanks for watching.
Thanks for sharing that, Jules. That's interesting. But I'm definitely going to keep on this. Yep, he gave his life to. I don't know. I feel like there's still more to it. I don't know. Just do you know his family having all those nursing homes because they have those nursing homes. He probably seen the corruption, maybe, and I don't know. But I'm going to end this. I sure will, Jules, and you give your babies hugs and loves and all that. And I will talk to y'all sometime. I don't know. Good night, y'all. Love y'all.